Hello, everybody, and welcome to Peaches and Power Bombs. I am your host for the evening, Majestic Marie. Thank you so much for joining me. And as you can see, I don't have a very special person with me today. Unfortunately, Alora could not join us. She's got a lot of things going on and she just couldn't quite make the show. It's very disappointing, I'm sure. But we're going to try to get through this without her. So you have to deal with little old me and our very special guest for the evening. Guys, I am so nervous. This is my very first professional wrestler live interview going on Facebook as we speak. It's a little nerve wracking, but we're going to get through it okay. My guest for tonight is I've been kind of lurking in the shadows, kind of stalking a little bit. And he's just amazing. I really enjoy watching his stuff. And I'm just excited to have him on the show. So, everybody, please give a warm welcome to the Rolls Royce of wrestling,
Oh yeah.
Brino Royce. How are
I
you
love
doing
that
this evening?
intro. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Excellent
joining me.
intro. Good evening to you.
Thanks. Yes. I'm so excited to have you on. We don't usually cover independent wrestling on the show. We're mostly like the big dogs, I guess you would say, in town. But we're really excited to have you on.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I hate y'all wait until I got real popular to get me on the show. That's a good business decision on y'all's part now, but y'all had me waiting.
Yeah. Um Last year was really tough. I missed like half the year and only came in like in bits and pieces. I had a procedure last year, so I wasn't on the show very much last year to be honest with you. So
Okay, but look at us now though.
I know
Yeah,
it's
we're
crazy.
here.
We are here. So, we're gonna we want to get to know Brino a little bit. So I know these are pretty typical questions that you probably get so tired of answering, but
We're good. This is the first one. This is the first one. We're good.
all right. So, um, a lot of the people who watch probably aren't really familiar with you, so we want to get to know you a little
Shame
bit.
on them. Shame on them.
I know, right? Jeez, what is wrong with people? YouTube, everybody, it's your best friend. All right, so Brino, how did you get into the wrestling business? We'll just get the basics out. How did you get into the wrestling business? Were you a fan when you first beforehand, or did you just kind of inch your way
Oh,
into it?
for sure. So my parents had me really young, and we lived in an apartment complex in Clinton, South Carolina, and they were the popular kids. So every Monday, every Friday, everybody in the neighborhood was at our house. So my like youngest memories are everybody just chanting, "If you smell what the rock is cooking." Those are my like oldest memories. Um, always been a pretty physical kid, and by the time I got to school, they didn't even have it in my county, so I had to learn privately how to wrestle. Wrestled all through school, through high school, college, and it just so happened that I was also doing a whole bunch of music stuff in school as well. And when I was on contract there, one of the stipulations of that contract was I couldn't get hurt, or I couldn't be doing, strenuous physical activity where I could get hurt. So I had started learning professional wrestling training when I was in the 11th grade. And all throughout college, I'm on this contract. So I'm just sneaking and wrestling all that time, like training, 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 training. So I ended up training about 3, 4 years without ever having a match.
Wow.
So we finish up with school, and it just so happens I got all this free time on my hands now and all this wrestling training that I've never used before. So hit up a couple friends, got a couple shows, and the rest was history.
Okay, so who trained you?
A very exotic guy named Amp Dominic. He, along with Christopher Patterson and Christina Trandow, and we covered a whole bunch. So we did a lot of Greco-Roman wrestling, a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and a lot of yoga, and then the professional wrestling training on top of that. So Amp was very much my character guy, my Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. Christina, she was also grappling, ground game, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and then Coach P, Chris Patterson, he was my professional wrestling guy. And we all worked for years and years and years, and here we go.
Okay, and AMP has been touted by Dr. Tom Pritchard as well. Is that right?
That's right. He was just, I think, what, like 2, 3 days ago?
I think.
Yeah, he was on with, I think, Ron and Davin. Love those guys. They were on a show together, and it's always crazy to me because I know what he can do because he trained me. But
Right.
when you hear like somebody else like super duper credible in the business talk about him, it's like, okay, he might know what he's doing.
Right, right. And I think Dr. Tom Pritchard is also having a seminar in South
He
Carolina.
is. That's right, May 27th.
All right, so if any professional wrestlers are watching the stream right now, if you want to go and learn from the best of the best, go check out that seminar by Dr. Tom Pritchard.
Yeah, come on out, please do.
No matter how long you've been in the business or no matter how long you've been doing anything, you always have room to grow. So, and just learning from a mindset like that is so important.
And
So,
look, as soon
you,
as I knew that he trained the Rock, like I was going, like,
right?
cause like
Right.
that was my first, that was my as a child favorite wrestler. Like that's the guy I loved the first. So like, gotta go.
Right, right. Yeah, like you said, you mentioned The Rock, and I want to kind of know who some of your inspirations are, and I'm guessing that The Rock is one of those.
Mildly, it's actually wild. A lot of my in-ring inspirations have nothing to do with like the people I loved growing up. 'Cause like once you get into the business, it's very different.
Right,
Um, a whole bunch of Ric Flair, love Rick, Nick Aldis, Dean Malenko, um, love Zack Sabre Jr., love Pete Dunne, like a lot of those European guys who really get grappling. I love those guys.
right. So you call yourself the Earth's finest grappler, and I'm
That's
guessing,
correct. That's
um,
correct.
you mentioned like Dean Malenko and guys like that are really kind of like the mat based type of wrestling, and and I'm guessing that comes from like the Brazilian jiu jitsu background
For sure.
and things like that as well. So I was wondering how you feel like on the independence. It's very different. What you do is very different than what you see most of the time on the independent wrestling. So um do you try to really use that and hone that to stand out? Because like I'm gonna be honest, on the independents you see a lot of like the high flyers and
Yeah.
the that kind of thing, so you don't really see that mat based wrestling anymore. So
So for sure, that is my. I didn't actually love technical wrestling until like a year into I actually started wrestling. So I was very much like the Hogans, the Rocks, like really entertainers and not wrestlers.
right,
But one, nobody on the independents is trying to be like the best technical wrestler. So that's a big market that I could take over and possibly like monopolize. This is like my lane. If you think about technical wrestling on the indies, you have to think about Brino.
right,
Um, it's just a lot of fun. It makes the most sense to me. Um, if I was in like some kind of combat and in the independents, I don't know these guys. I meet them when I get there type thing. And grappling just makes the most sense to me.
yeah. And I think it's different on almost all as wrestling as a whole, because back when we were growing up watching like people like Ric Flair and The Rock and things like that, the high flying stuff was what was rare, and so that's what people like Jeff Hardy used to stand out. And now it's funny, it's the complete opposite. It's sort of flipped. And
Yeah, what's
while
old is new.
Yes, well, I mean, like on AEW, for instance, you see people flying through the air almost in every match, and now
Yeah,
how guys stand out, like Dax Harwood and others, it is that more mat based wrestling. So it, going back to the roots, I guess, of trying to stand out in professional wrestling when everyone else is doing it this one way and you're going in the opposite direction.
sure, sure, yeah.
So let's talk about more a little bit on the entertainment side as well. What are some of the people that inspire you as far as the character and things like that?
A ton of Muhammad Ali. Um, and to go ahead and piggyback off the Muhammad Ali thing, he kind of did what he did, what I want to do in professional wrestling. He didn't die as a boxer. He died as a cultural icon.
Right.
There were like if you just like watch his memorial service, the kinds of people that are at his memorial, like you have rabbis, you have priests, you have entertainers, you have movie stars, you have the who's who of anybody in the world love that guy because he understood not only being able to back up the stuff he was saying, but he understood the entertainment aspect of it. He understood, hey, nobody really knows words like that. I can speak. Let me go on talk shows. Let me get my face across the country, across the world, marketability. And I think that is a big aspect of indie professional wrestling that doesn't it's not taken advantage of enough. I don't see people manipulating like media as Muhammad Ali would have. So that's something I for sure want to bring in.
Right, because a lot of times in the independents, people are under the assumption that they're just coming for the wrestling, and this isn't like a big thing, and I don't have that much time to show these people who I am,
Yeah,
so I'm just going
sure.
to come in there and do a bunch of stuff and then go home. But I think it's even more important because you don't have the time and you don't have that regularity, that that is the time that you really do need to actually show who you are and your character so people can actually remember you, and perhaps, oh yes, I'm going to that show because Brino Royce is on that show.
And to that credit right there, I think that is another reason why the social media platforms we use are so important. Because when I'm not working matches, I don't like to work every weekend. I'm not one of those guys that just got to get in there. I don't, no, I'm good. I'm good. But if I'm not wrestling, I'm working on my character and I'm making that character visible. So when a promoter reaches out to me, it's not, hey, what do you do? What's your name? What are you? Blah, blah, blah. Can you come and work, baby? Work heel. No, it's I want that character that you have been marketing. I'm like trying to be the most complete product I can be without the promoter. All they have to do is say, "Hey, I want that character," or "Hey, I don't want that character." So I'm trying to eliminate the room for, "Hey, can you come and do this random blah 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 or this random?" No, I want that character. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish.
Right, so I'm wondering too, obviously, if you're putting all of this work into your character, into your wrestling, and you probably have a lot of big dreams that you want to accomplish. I'm wondering, do you have any dream opponents on the indie circuit, on the on a grander stage? What are some of your dream opponents that you would like to step in the ring with?
Jonathan Gresham for sure. He's over at Impact right now, but I truly believe he is like the best technical wrestler in the world. Would love to get in there with Gresham.
That's a
Uh,
given.
yeah. Nick Aldis for sure. Um, Fred Yehi, he's a great independent wrestler. He does a lot of stuff for Impact as well, but very MMA based, and he just does some innovative stuff that you don't think about seeing in a wrestling match. And the different stuff, the wild stuff, like that's what like draws me in because I the stuff I'm looking to do is things no one's done yet. So definitely
Right.
Fred Yehi.
Those sound really great. And if those ever happen, I will be glued to the TV or to just have to go to the show if it's not on television. So those will be really great. So I have I did some research, and of course, I know some people who are currently in the faction that you are part of, King
Okay.
Enterprises. I would like to know, how did that relationship start? Did you approach them or did they approach you? How did that relationship begin?
So, this is around the time I was still like in school, sneaking in wrestling, and I ended up at a show that I didn't know was going to be a show. I thought people were just working out. I heard the ring was going to be there. Haven't wrestled there forever. Let me go there and like roll around. Ended up, they were like, "Hey, it's actually a show. Can you be on the card?" And I was like, "I guess." So that happened, and Michael King was there, and AJ Frost was there, and I saw Mike come in, and he had on the three-piece suit and the. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to know this guy. He owns clothes. I feel like we may come
He
from the
owns
same background.
right.
Like he can speak full sentences. I need to, know who this guy is. So we talked, and we were in and out of touch for a few months. And then I think like maybe that fourth, fifth month, we started to talk more about bringing me into the team. And then that happened, and that was great. But I wasn't like a regular wrestler anywhere yet. I was just pretty much like solo right now, like enforcer type deal.
Okay.
And then I started to get matches, and then we started to get championships, and then we're just doing all we can right now to keep growing it.
So, what are some of the goals for King Enterprises? Are y'all just looking to just dominate wherever y'all go, or do y'all have a specific goal in mind?
So what's cool about King Enterprises is we don't all have like one collective goal. Mike is he's an actual like shoot agent, shoot life coach, and he tailors like the things we do to all of our specific needs and where we want to go in the business. Like my goal, I want to wrestle in the UK and I want to wrestle in Japan. Um, Luke Fury, when he was a part of King Enterprises, he was the GCW, AEW, WWE guy. Luca Daniels is our WWE guy, and Mike does a great job of making sure we all get what we need and nobody's feeling neglected, but we're all going separate ways, but we're doing it together.
That's awesome. And just so anybody knows, if anybody keeps up with King Enterprises, I did get permission to have Brino on the show tonight, so I didn't smuggle anybody in. It's all good. And in fact, we have Brino's consigliere. Oh, he says, hold on
Listen,
a minute. Okay. He says,
Oh,
wait a
look,
minute.
look at how rude.
I know, right?
How rude.
The consigliere is not advising. He said, I don't know if
Wait,
he's still
hold on.
talking to
What is he
me.
doing? What can be more important than talking with Brino and Majestic Marie?
I know, right? He's waving his hand. I don't know who he's talking to.
I don't know if I want him on my show now.
I know, right? He says yes. Okay. Your consigliere.
listen, listen. This my flight lands in Dallas at 8:20 a.m. I told you, make sure the car's there at 8:45. We're on our way. I got I got stuff to do Saturday, so don't play with me. Uh, sorry. Flight
Mr.
plans.
Consigliere, what a man.
How you doing, VP?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Well, you hear it. Last minute changes, last minute plans. You know how things go. What's up?
Okay, so we've been getting to know your guy over here, Brino Royce,
Right.
and he's got a show coming up on June the 3rd in South Carolina. So I thought we could talk about it. It's Saturday,
What a
and
It's
gorgeous
it's
poster.
it is. There has
look
there
who's in the middle too.
right, and he's supporting the goal right there. this is not your average, everyday, run of the mill wrestling show.
Absolutely not.
There are 10 matches on this card. 10. There is live music to start the show off. Some of the best concessions you're going to find in the region are going to be there. Um, Majestic, I think we have to arrange for you to be here. I think that's just a thing we have to figure out, but I think we have to arrange for you to get here for
For
this one.
Okay.
sure.
So where else are you going to see Caleb with a K, JD Drake, TNA Suicide, and all these up and comers in the independent scene under one roof? There's not a place right now that's operating this year that you're going to have that ability in one show where they're all on the card, not sitting there at a fan fest and signing autographs and taking pictures. No, that those conventions happen all the time.
And I hate to cut you off, but what I absolutely also love about this card is for they weren't stingy with the stars. Like for every up and comer, there's also a star on that show. Or
Right.
somebody who's definitely gonna be a star. Like this show is like not lacking anywhere on the card.
I'll bring that up again for people to see.
Not at all. It's going to be something special. I have the entire card over here already as well. So I mean, I can definitely help you with that.
Do you want to run it down for us? Saint?
Well,
No?
yeah, I
Well?
can.
Nah, he gotta do it now.
Yeah, I got to do it now. So when it comes to it, the card, as I said, has had some changes, but
Matter of fact, let me hold a championship with these
yeah,
brand new
yeah,
custom side plates on it while we talk
yeah,
about it.
yeah. At the David Cody Memorial, which is what this is. This is a multi. A lot of people don't realize, David Cody was part of Classic Pro Wrestling (CPW), which is where I got my start. I did not start until after I believe Mr. Cody had already passed away. So it's unfortunate I did not get to meet him, but I got to see a lot of what he had built himself and Buck Carter and Jimmy Ward together running CPW. Now, there was a lot of guys who came through there. JD Drake was one of them. JD Drake was on CPW. I might be right when I say he was on their very first show. So Drake's been around there. You've got legends in the business like Deion Johnson. You
Yes,
can't
sir.
you can't take away what Deion Johnson's done in this industry, whether it was on his own or as the legendary Soul Patrol tag team. You've got Cam Jackson. Cam Jackson is by and large one of the most entertaining people, period, that you're going to find in a professional wrestling ring. There's no doubt about that. You've got guys traveling in. We got Bryce Cannon coming from Georgia, actually.
Yeah, y'all can ride together.
He's he's part of the Exotic Youth. You got Don Furio. You've seen Don on AEW.
Yes, sir.
Got Caleb Conley. That's Caleb with a K from Impact Wrestling. If you didn't know, it's going to be Bryce versus Caleb versus Don in a triple threat, which is insane. And that is also the winner of that advances to the number one contenders pool, which are the people who will be competing to challenge Mr. Royce here. We got Buggy Wright, most recently crowned junior heavyweight champion at Pro Wrestling Union. He will be teaming up with one Brittany Jade, who you've also seen on AEW, going up against Mr. WrestleMania moment himself, Luka Daniels, who's teaming with Jasmine Howe, who has got to be one of the hardest hitting women in the region. There's
we can say on the East Coast.
We can say on the East Coast?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll go with East Coast.
Jasmine's pretty mean.
Jasmine is extremely mean. JD Drake will be going up against Chase Emery, another guy who's been
Clinic.
on TV. It's going to be a clinic. Chase is a fantastic wrestler. a wrestler's wrestler. I will go with the wrestler's wrestler. Would you describe him any
Clinic,
other way? Okay.
clinic. I mean, he also wrestled all the way through school, state champion. Like Chase is a pedigreed athlete.
Right. We've got Whiskey Business taking on the team of Jeff Connolly, and I can't remember that other cat's name to save my life.
Well, they probably ain't gonna win
It's Jeff.
then.
It's Jeff Connolly. Well, it was supposed to be the Heat Seekers, and the Heat Seekers got called away to work in WA. So that's actually been like a thing that's happened a lot recently. The stars that are booked to be at a certain show, JD Drake the other week had to go work Ring of Honor instead of working a show that we were at. So it's man, I can't think of that cat's name. But anyway, they'll be going up against Whiskey Business in a tag team matchup. You've got Crucifix Greek, who we've seen on television as well, AEW and WWE in the same week.
Yeah,
He'll be going up against Commodore Legion. That dude is 100% a riddle. You can't like say, oh, he's this type of wrestler. Because just when you think he's going to hit you with the enziguri, he's going to tie your arm up and wrap it around your neck,
yep,
and he's going to choke you out with it. You think he's going to do a splash? No, he's going to hurt himself to hurt you more. That's him.
completely off the wall.
He is legitimately an enigma. Cam Jackson will be defending the CPW championship against Deion Johnson.
Banger.
Mr. Brino Royce will be defending his AWL heavyweight title against the Pro Wrestling Union heavyweight champion in Bebop. Now, this is a champion versus champion match. Yep.
Wait. No. Throw that back up. Put that back up.
Okay.
Let's just take a second. Okay, we're good.
All right. So
Self-proclaimed top dog of the industry.
That's what they say.
now, Bebop, a long time ago, under a name of a different company, held a strap that Mr. Royce is currently in possession of the newest and most recent iteration of. So when they said Brino Royce was the first ever Black Mid-Atlantic champion, that was accurate because it was under that company's banner.
That's right.
However, there was people out there, and we all three know who he is, who tried to make false claims and all these other things. We got tired of that.
And his show ain't been the same since.
No, it hasn't. Anyway, Brino is defending his title, whereas Bebop is not. That's a very interesting caveat there. But, what got funny to me was the owner of Pro Wrestling Union mentioned, well, if Brino can best Bebop, then that would kind of line him up for a future Pro Wrestling Union, contention. So there's that to keep in mind. So that I like the idea of that one. We've got Chris Vallo going up against Antonio Morgan. That's two big men who like to throw.
I got Vallo. What, you got Morgan?
Here's why. Hold on.
Come on, Ron. Come on,
Hold on. Antonio Morgan's undefeated at AWL. And you know what? Vallo, one of the last times we were at AWL, Vallo hit me in the head with a microphone, and it was my microphone. Like, I can't. I hope Antonio Morgan. I hope Antonio Morgan slams him.
I'm rooting for everybody bad.
There you go. And then we have Moody versus Suicide. Now,
yes,
Moody has been out of training maybe a year. I think you and I saw his debut together, if I'm not mistaken.
I cannot say enough good things about Moody. Like, I hope he sees this video. I love that dude. He is just so crisp at every single thing he does. Like, the in-ring is there. The selling is there. The look is like, he is the package. Like, I want him to do great things.
I do too. I really do. I got a lot of faith in him. A lot of people put a lot of stock in Moody as well.
Yeah,
Um,
Moody's great.
Corey Sparks going up against Garrett Sinclair. Uh, Corey Sparks traveling in from West Virginia. My man's gonna be tired by the time he gets to the building. I think Garrett's gonna handle him on that one.
You know what? I saw Corey Sparks' promo, and before I had saw it, like I was like, okay, he might, but he got a. I saw his promo, and he's got a list, and I don't believe in him because of that list. So I got Sinclair on that one.
Okay. Well, I mean, and that's what we have announced and what we're allowed to speak on because there's an awful lot going on with this show. There's live music, like I said, we got 10 matches. Um, it is going to be a show of shows when you put together that many different promotions, that many different matches. You've got classic pro wrestling, AWL, which American Wrestling League, Pro Wrestling Union, See No Evil Wrestling, um, NCW, which is out of North Carolina, and I
I think
believe
we got
Titan.
Titan on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Titan Wrestling Southside as well is in there, and that's our good buddy Thomas Scott as well. Uh, there's a lot going on with this. It's going to be a long day at the office, but I mean, I already put in the orders. Cigars are. I got to pick them up. I'll probably
Good
grab
man.
them.
Good man.
I'll grab them at the end of next week, not this week because I'll be in Dallas on Friday. So I'll get them next week when I have time. Um, and then I think I got a fresh fifth. So I mean we're set for our
Yeah,
evening.
we in there. We in there.
And we're only 8 minutes at most from my house, and I can take the back streets all the way. I'm good. We're good to go.
So your match that night, is that a classical traditional champion versus champion match, or is someone's title or is both titles on the line that night, or
So it'll only be my title on the line since it is an I guess predominantly AWL show we're hosting. So
okay.
mine is on the line, but I mean I feel a lot. I won't say pressure. I'm very excited to have my first title defense. This will be like my first statement as champion. I get like this performance will actually solidify my championship because I've had it for a little bit, but I haven't had to defend it yet. So this match
Right.
right here is, do I deserve to have it? Do I deserve to keep it? So I'm very excited to put on a show for that match.
And let me bring it up so I can
Right.
Bebop over here. Is this the first time that you're stepping in the ring with Bebop, or have y'all mixed it up before?
So this will be our second time wrestling,
Second time, okay.
and I'm not gonna assume what he does or in his free time or whatever, but I know what I do in my free time. In my free time, I've dropped 62 pounds. I'm lighter. I'm quicker. In my free time, I've started to box. I was already doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was already doing amateur wrestling. I've added another discipline to the arsenal. I've been down in Florida getting to talk with Dory Funk Jr., who's pretty much like the Japan guy in America. I just don't think that Bebop, the same Bebop that I wrestled last year, he won't be able to have the same match he had last year. He's gonna have to do something different. The singing and dancing ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah. Casey Leanne did throw up the correct name for the tag team partner that's taking over the Heat Seeker spot. It's Devin Cruz.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm sorry I said what I said. I love Devin Cruz.
Yeah, it's Devin Cruz. I spaced out, man, because I went on AWL's Facebook page and I didn't see Devin's picture there. So,
Man, I love
but
that
yes,
guy.
it's gonna be Devin Cruz stepping in for the Heat Seekers.
Okay, I'm going to get through some comments real quick and then we'll move on to our next segment. Saint, is there
Okay.
anything else that you want to say before we say goodbye to you?
Oh no, I am good. Majestic. There is a few things I'd like to say actually.
Okay.
Uh, we love you.
Wait,
Okay.
wait,
What?
wait.
What?
Have we been missing the opportunity to call her Eminem this whole time?
That's funny.
Like, has that not clicked for anybody yet?
I
I
mean,
know I know someone who calls me Eminem in the wrestling. My friend Issa from Puerto Rico, she has a wrestling channel as well and she calls me Eminem.
Yeah, see, she's a genius level thinker.
so Majestic. Listen, um, thank you for having me on to help. You know,
Yes.
kind of guide some of the things here.
Thank
There,
you.
there has been a lot of work that went into this. Brino, Brino and I have run the roads for the last year, um, crossing state lines, sometimes not fully conscious, uh,
And bringing gold back with
and
us.
bringing gold back. And I mean, it's always cool when you get to run the roads anyway, and you get to talk and book the territory as as they say, um, or just come up with the next thing. And for anybody that doesn't believe it, be there when the guy shows up to the arena because you won't see anybody else that walks in looking like Brino. You won't see it. Period. Not not anywhere in the Indies, at least not in this region.
Yeah, facts. I
You'll be
appreciate that,
lucky.
Ron.
You
Thank you,
will be
baby.
lucky to see them show up dressed like him on WWE. Paul Heyman shows up dressed in a nice suit. Beyond that, I don't know who else does. Maybe Vince does. Maybe Hunter does. Everybody else just kind of shows up in their gym clothes or their
Cena
sweatsuit.
always did.
Cena, yep, there's a good
Yep.
one. I mean, you don't see guys like that anymore. You don't understand what goes into it. A lot of people don't understand what goes into any of this, whether it's been the King Enterprises or Brino Royce himself.
In
Um,
fact, not many people even go out for their promo sections, their promo session, their promo part of the show. When they just go out there to talk, they're in their gym clothes for that as well. So
Cody, Cody,
presentation. Well,
Cody's
Cody,
good at
they're well. Those are the exceptions to the rule. And those
right,
stand out too, like
right.
Charlotte and
And
Bianca Belair and all of them.
Nick did it as well. Nick Aldis did it as well.
Yeah,
I had
He's the
the
man.
dude. I had the pleasure. We'll talk about August. I had the pleasure to watch Nick work. As
I was
close to
about to beat you up, man. I thought you said you had met Nick and didn't tell me about
I I did.
it.
You knew I was. You knew I met Nick.
You
Eh,
what?
I met Nick. I'm.
Get his ass out of here.
I met Nick.
Get,
I met all. But anyway, Majestic. We'll talk. We'll talk more about it, Brina. But Majestic, we love you. If you ever need anything, you know who to call. We take
yes,
care of
sir.
business. So you
Thank
guys
you
have a
very
great
much.
evening. I'm gonna make sure these morons have my car waiting for me at the airport Friday because I have a birthday party to attend Saturday that I'm not gonna miss. You know, I make a commitment. I stand by it. So
Ron, don't call me later. You in hot water.
you knew this. You knew this. It was at the gathering last year, man.
I don't recall. I
When
don't
I worked for
recall
High
nothing
Spots,
like that.
Thomas Latimer, Camille, Nick Aldis. I was in the damn Mickey suit. You got to remember the Mickey suit. I was dressed up as
No,
Mickey Mouse,
no.
getting put in a headlock by Barry Horowitz, the biggest jobber in WWF history. I got my picture taken with Tori Wilson in a Mickey Mouse suit. Like, how you not remember this? It was last
Majestic,
August.
majestic. You get him out of here. You get. I don't want to see it. Wise man, you done. You done.
Good night.
All right, Saint. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Man, I met
Okay,
Nick
so
Aldis and didn't tell
I'm
me.
bless it. Bless it. All right, so I'm going to get through some comments and then we'll quickly go into our next segment.
Yeah, let's get
Scott
some
Larson
comments.
said Brino is an all-around wrestler, great in all aspects, the complete
Oh man.
package. Ray All Day is here and he says, Brino Royce, my BFF,
Yo, I
how are
love
you?
you, bro.
Isn't
Yeah.
he the best?
Yeah, I
The
love
only
Ray.
thing about him is that he likes them nasty New York Mets. That's the only thing holding him back. But
Okay,
you know,
but Adam Cole.
Adam Cole is king. Brino Royce and Adam Cole are kings. That's great. Brandon says the thing I love about Brino is no match is the same. You always get something different
Oh
watching him
man.
perform. Yeah, we were just talking about that. How your opponent on June the 3rd is not going to get the same Brino Royce, and that he
He's not.
has to stay on his toes. Casey, I read your comment a while ago. Thank you so much for joining us. David says hello.
Doc.
And Brian says, hello, Majestic and Mr. Royce. Very nice to see you both.
That's
And
my guy.
looking awesome this evening, Mr.
Oh,
Champ.
thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're going to play a little game called
Oh,
Brino's Thoughts.
Okay, let's do it. I
And
like
while we're playing
games.
this game, viewers, if you're watching, if you have a question for Brino and it's nice and you're a good little boy,
I'm being a good boy.
we might pull it up and have Brino answer that question. So keep that in mind while we're playing our little game called What Does Brino Think of? Brino's Thoughts. So our first one is Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can be completely honest.
Just anything I think about him, or like in ring,
Yeah,
or
what comes to mind when you hear the name Dominic Mysterio?
Sheesh. I'm trying to see what I can say and not get in trouble.
Just
I'm
remember,
being a good boy.
I like what he is doing, what he has been given. I think he has really well, anytime you see a wrestler like be assigned a gimmick, it can either work or it can not work.
right.
And I think he has did an excellent job of kind of reading the crowd. He has them in the palm of his hand right now.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think he's got like the most heat out of anybody right now.
He's got more heat than MJF does, and that's saying
Yeah.
something.
So I definitely think he is a smart guy. He was able to read the crowd, take what he was given and run with it. So credit to him for that.
Yep. Yeah. I really like him too, and there's a lot of people who don't and everything, but I'm just like, if you don't like him, he's doing his job
Yeah, for
the
sure.
right way. And him and that connection with him and Rhea Ripley have just been off the charts. It's worked so well.
Yeah, they for sure just like saw something work, took it and ran with it.
All right, our next one is thoughts on celebrities in wrestling. We just watched Backlash with Bad Bunny being in a street fight with Damian Priest. We have Pat McAfee wrestling periodically. Logan Paul wrestles here and there on the show as well. And I think, yeah, those are the three that have been on the shows the most the past couple years. So what do you think about celebrities coming in and having matches?
I think that celebrities in wrestling are pretty much I think they're as important as far as getting mainstream eyes on wrestling, getting like the pop culture eyes on wrestling, getting, the who's who like looking in on wrestling. That has been pretty much what made it pop in the first place when you had like Cyndi Lauper and Mr. T and like those kind of guys. Even Muhammad Ali, he came and did some stuff. Mike Tyson. I think that tradition is kind of necessary for, I wouldn't say professional wrestling overall, but in the United States and for the WWE because they made it famous. That's their thing that they
Right.
started. I think is almost natural, and
Hmm.
it's just a plus when they come in and they actually know what they're doing. Like Logan Paul can
Right.
come in and have a good match with somebody.
Right.
So I think they're almost necessary for tradition type thing. So it's almost just like a plus when they come in and they can go.
Right. Yeah. Especially when they treat it with respect and reverence and they want to do a good job. Like, I think that Bad Bunny has just shown the wrestling business so much respect and how he treats it and everything when he
Yes.
does come in. And he also gets to bring in all of these eyes. I think AOC, or the congresswoman from
Yeah,
New
yeah,
York, watched that show. She's from Puerto Rico, and she likes Bad Bunny, I guess. So it's funny how all these big names that don't normally watch wrestling was watching wrestling and
yeah,
tweeting about it on their social medias and bringing even more eyes in. So that was pretty cool to see.
for sure. Yeah, it's cool. It's just like it always feeds into that anything can happen type thing at a wrestling show.
Oh yeah, yeah. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. Anything. I mean, talking about celebrities, Snoop Dogg, and
Yeah, and I think like he's a regular in WWE at this point. Like,
he is. He is. It was so funny. It was the worst and best people's elbow all in one.
no, so the moment I saw that happen, I was like, dang, like has he been around that enough to where he knows to just cover something, like cover up a mistake like that, or just call something on the fly? Like I thought that was
Right.
cool.
Well, there's debate going on saying that the referee said do the people's elbow, but that he
So it
just
was it was a cameraman. I saw the video. It was actually a
okay.
cameraman, but still he was there. He received the information and he did it like very quick.
Well, just like that. Plus, he knew to come into the ring though as well. Like he didn't just stand there outside the ring going, "What do we do?" He rolled in
Yeah,
there really fast on his own. So that
I
was
thought
pretty
that was
cool.
a super cool moment for that reason. I was like, dang, he knows what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. My
Like
husband and I
you
just
can tell for
laughed.
sure who respects it and who doesn't. Like he
Yeah.
knows what to like. I love
Yeah,
that.
like when they had Jon Stewart on there a couple years ago with Sami Zayn or somebody and he was
It was Seth Rollins. Seth
oh, Seth
Rollins.
Rollins. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he thinks it's a joke. So I was like,
Yeah,
ugh.
John Cena lost that night. That made me very happy.
Okay, last one. And real quick, guys, if you have a question for Brino, we're gonna put him up and we'll bring him up and have him answer it. Last one. Independent wrestling as a whole and its direction.
Oh. um, I get, I guess for independent wrestling, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Actually, I would like to see more togetherness coming from our vets and our up and comers. And any other major sport, whether it be like the MLB, NBA, NFL, I don't see a whole bunch of vets or like older generation guys. I don't see them trashing the new guys a bunch. I see that a whole bunch of independent wrestling, and I wish that it was different as far as the communication goes, as I guess like just behavior goes, as far as this is how I interact with a person. This is how I address a grievance. I would think that I just really want it to be more together and for everybody to work more to elevate the sport as a whole, as I mean, versus separating is this generation versus this generation. Because that's not happening in NBA. NBA, everybody supports everybody.
Right, right. For the
NFL,
betterment.
everybody. Yeah,
for the
yeah,
betterment. And in professional wrestling, you have these older guys, these vets, just creating podcasts and just trashing everyone in the currently in the business, or mostly everyone. There are exceptions.
yeah. And
And
it's not always the old guys. It's sometimes the younger guys come in with like crazy attitudes, you know.
right,
And
right,
we got to understand that these older guys, they have been through things, they have seen things that we just haven't seen. They've done things that we just haven't had to do.
right,
And we get to enjoy where wrestling is now because of those things that they have done, because of those things
right.
that they have seen. So if there was just more understanding and a common ground and like less bickering and just, hey, we got to move this thing forward, this is how we do it, we got to go together, I would
And
love that.
blending the old with the new, and like respecting and maybe implementing some of the more traditional things about wrestling that has been tried and tried again that works, and be
And for
and
sure,
having
and
your ears
that
open, having your
that's
ears
why
open.
like I'm so sorry to cut you off, but
It's okay.
that's pretty much all my interactions with vets. Like we'll fall out online, but then they'll meet me and they're like, "Oh, he likes old stuff. He thinks like closer than we do than the other guys do, you know?" So
Right.
we end up like hating each other when we first meet each other online, but then we get in person. It's like you're pretty cool. And then I usually call those guys like my uncles, my cousins type thing. Like I wish it was just all family and everybody trying to move it forward versus
Right.
oh, I'm tired of seeing thigh slapping, and like just stupid stuff.
Well,
Because
they have a
they
point, but
they do, but I they I don't like when people's arguments contradict themselves.
hmm
They always tell us, well, you can't do this on TV, you can't do that on TV, you got to do this to get ready to TV, and now they hate the thigh slapping, but where did we see that? Who made it famous? On TV, Shawn Michaels.
yeah.
So it's like always this just always moving argument of something the old people don't like and something the young people don't like.
Well, and the thing is that I think that they forget too that they probably had that same friction when
Yeah,
they were coming up too, and they wanted to do newer and more innovative things and introduce stuff into the wrestling. I'm pretty sure that those vets from the 80s, you know, that were like 60s, 70s, and
yeah.
watching them introduce celebrities into wrestling shows is probably like, who do they think
They
they
killing
are
the
doing all
business.
that? Yeah,
Yeah.
they kill them the business. I think everybody has that moment, and we just need to be more mindful of and listening to each other. The vets need to listen to the younger guys, and the younger guys need to listen to the vets.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so that was. Thank you for so much for playing our little game.
And also, so sorry, but I gotta bring this up.
Okay.
Talking about like just moving wrestling forward. I think we spend so much time talking about what we hate about professional wrestling that we forget to
Yes.
appreciate that professional wrestling still exists. Because we got to think, as a person, if you don't know what professional wrestling is, it is very much not a necessity. It is very much ridiculous. It is very
Yes.
much, just like this crazy exotic thing. Society at any point could decide, hey, we don't like this thing anymore. We're not going to support it. We're not going to watch it. We're not going to whatever. I think we should just appreciate that it's not dead.
Right. Right. I always on my social media platforms underneath my name, I always put Team Pro Wrestling hashtag tribalism is dumb.
Yeah, I like
So,
that.
yeah. Okay, so we are going to open the floor. Ask Brino almost anything.
Almost.
Almost. Okay, so uh Ron, who is just here, says, "Who else travels with our own team dog?"
Nobody's doing what we do, Ron. Nobody. They don't know it yet, but it's okay. We're gonna let them stay in the dark, and then they'll just see us on TV one day.
That's right. Doing things differently than everybody else to stand out. We don't have any more questions, but we do have some comments. Our
Okay.
friend Strav is here. He says hello.
Oh, I love him. How are you, my friend?
And Brino, my brother.
Yeah, that's my guy.
And he's agreeing with what we were saying a while ago. And Brian says, I believe Brino is the future of pro wrestling because of his perfection in the ring and also the class and integrity that he carries himself with.
Oh
That
man,
is a
that's so
big
much.
compliment.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. That's an awesome compliment there. I think that
So you coming on
deserves.
June 3rd, right?
Who, me?
Yeah, the champ has formally invited you to watch your main event.
I am going to try my best to be there. I cannot make any
And
promises.
Sarah was not here, so like y'all owe me something now.
I know, right? Right? It just it did not work out there with that. Okay, so I think that compliment deserves a little bit of something.
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
Like our sound bits here on Peaches and Power Bombs. So
Yeah, that's like that's how I owe up. It's funny. That's when I get to a show. If I have friends working that show, that's how I know they're there. Like whoever gets there first, they'll yell that out, and like one of the friends yells it back. We know like our friends are at the show, so that's funny.
that's funny because when my husband and I get separated, and he doesn't really watch wrestling, but he knows this part. When we get separated in a store, instead of yelling out Marco Polo, we'll yell out Adam Cole, Bay Bay.
That's great.
Well, Brino, thank you so much for joining me today and
Thank you
being
for
part
having me.
of our very first live interview. And
Yeah.
this was a lot of fun. We enjoyed having you on, and we will have you on again when Sarah can join us as
Yeah, now
well.
y'all don't wait a year till you have me on here again.
Okay, we won't. We'll get you scheduled pretty soon. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're watching us, and make sure that you go and follow Brino on social media, so you know when all of his events are, when all of his wrestling matches are. Like he said, he doesn't wrestle every weekend, so you have to pay attention
Yeah,
because when
you
he
gotta catch
does,
me.
it's a big deal. So make sure that you follow his stuff and go see his matches and his events. And make sure you follow us here on Peaches and Power Bombs if you haven't
Yeah,
done that
peaches and
yet.
power bombs. Yeah, if you don't get on that, Brino will smack you.
You heard it from the man himself. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to say good night. And we hope y'all have a good evening. See y'all. Good night, sweet peach.
I'm out.
It's time to go. Good night, sweet peach.